The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
CeeDee Lamb, touchdown.
Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Youmans.
It's a Say It With Your Chest Friday edition of Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, in the SWBC studios. Welcoming everybody. The Cowboys fall in Week 1, 24-20, the final score against the Philadelphia Eagles, and we've got the whole cast and crew ready to break it down for you, ready to rock today with Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. Gentlemen, where do we start? Where do we start? There are a lot of different things to break down. We could talk about
spit it out, Kyle.
Yeah, we could talk about that. Talk about Jalen Carter. Talk about a couple dropped opportunities. A couple things that slipped right through your fingertips.
Within spitting distance, if you will.
Yeah, all the
And I will.
metaphors.
All the puns.
All the puns. Cowboys had a shot to beat the reigning Super Bowl champions on the road in Week 1. It hurts the fact that they had a shot and they very easily could have won that game with as well as they played. And that wasn't even.
They had a shot.
They had a shot.
He said it hurts.
And it hurts.
And it hurts. Man, this is just, we're on a roll here.
Very punny
So
episode.
good.
Yeah.
On the
No, but you had an opportunity late and ultimately just couldn't get it done.
Listen, you guys know everything about Talking Cowboys. We don't do moral victories.
No.
We don't do moral victories. But I can tell you what, last night, when there is no draw, right? Win or lose, right? Obviously you lost. You were going to find out where your team was. You had
For the first time.
You had no idea what your team was. You literally had no idea. Most of the guys that were playing last night had not touched the field in the preseason. That's just what it is. You know what you have now. And Cowboys Nation, again, I'm going to say there are no moral victories, so don't at me. However, you should be highly encouraged.
Absolutely.
You should be highly encouraged as to what you have for what's transpired with this organization over the past week in terms of losing your best defensive player and seeing exactly what your defense looks like now, seeing exactly what your coverage looks like with Trayvon Diggs coming off an injury. You still have other guys that have to come off the injury report to make contributions, to see what your offense looks like with Brian Schottenheimer, and really everybody not even really being utilized last night. You should be encouraged by the running game. You had questions and concerns about who was going to be able to tote the rock and can you be effective on the ground with the ground game. You should be encouraged by your offensive line. How are these guys going to be able to run block? Can these guys protect? Can they keep Dak? Is Dak's hamstring healthy? Can he run? Can he get out the pocket? All these things. There's a lot of questions that I don't want to say fully got answered, but you have a pretty good idea as to where you're at right now. And again, you just played the Super Bowl champs who returned almost everybody.
Almost.
17 out of 22 starters.
Impressive.
The Super Bowl champions returned 17 out of 22 starters, and you just went toe-to-toe with them, and you should have won. You should have won. You had your opportunities.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right? So, again, no moral victories, but I am encouraged, right? I had predicted that they were going to lose 27-21, I think, right? Just guys like, I just don't know who they are. I don't know if they're going to be able to get over the edge, right? This was a good matchup, and I've gotten through the first half of film so far. A lot of things to clean up, but all these things that you see on film are correctable. But, again, we'll get into the details. I'm highly encouraged.
Is it a lot of things that you think would have benefited from a few snaps in the preseason?
Yes. Very much so. Very much so. I said it last night on the post-game show.
I was about to say, did you listen to post-game last night?
Yeah, a bit.
little
and
bit?
that's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm leading into that because those are a lot of things. And a lot of fans were kind of saying this too. You know, it's if you don't have Dak playing in the preseason at all, getting snaps, getting familiar. That was the first time we had seen the offensive line play together as one on the field Thursday Night Football, Game 1. That's a tall order, if you will, to serve up for opening day. But the Cowboys went down the field on 2 drives in a row and scored touchdowns. You have to love that. You have to love what Brian Schottenheimer came in with. Another thing that you said on the pregame show was that your coordinators were prepared. They got your guys prepared.
Absolutely.
I loved that because it was clear. It was obvious. I don't know that I necessarily loved Matt Eberflus's game plan when you look at the snaps of like a Maris Leofau, why he wasn't on the field, why he wasn't spying Jalen Hurts, especially after the first few drives where they went down and scored touchdowns back to back to back. It's tough, but I think there's a lot to build on.
I tell you what, and speaking to Eberflus really quickly before I get to some of my key takeaways, because a lot here, but I'll give a summation. But Eberflus, we talk about culture change. Mozzie Smith was a healthy scratch. You don't see that under Mike McCarthy. If Mike McCarthy is still in this building as head coach, Mozzie Smith is not a healthy scratch at any point ever. So I would like to say that Schottenheimer and Eberflus are keeping to what they said. They said they want to see more consistency from Mozzie Smith. Those were not empty words.
Nope.
At all.
Compete every day, not empty words.
So kudos to them for that. Now, as far as some of the takeaways from those who did play, love what Isaiah's saying, love what Josh is saying, and I completely agree. Again, we will say this, and we'll have to say this a million other times because we already know how fans are. There are no moral victories.
Zero.
However, just as if the Cowboys had won, there would have been negatives to discuss as far as improvements.
Yeah.
Okay? Just like the Cowboys lost this game, there are positives to discuss along with the negatives.
Yep.
That's called football talk, okay? There are a lot of positives. Schottenheimer came out, his script was magnificent on that first drive. But then you're thinking to yourself, okay, script looks magnificent. First 12, 15 plays, cool. Second drive, mostly unscripted, still looked magnificent. Oh my, what are we doing here? There's a lot of pre-snap motion here, and that snap motion, these are a lot of condensed offensive sets to make things that much more challenging on the defense for the Eagles. And then you look at Dak, granted, no preseason, but saw a stat yesterday, finished the game with 90% catchable throws. 90%. Dak was pristine out there. The run game, to Isaiah's point, we had no idea what this run game would look like or this new look offensive line would look like. Man, I get it. Jalen Carter got removed, but guess what? They still have bodies out there like Jordan Davis, for example. Shouts out to Javonte Williams. He was making the best of every opportunity given to him in conjunction with the fact that, man, this offensive line was just moving bodies.
Absolutely.
They were moving bodies forward, sideways. There was a lot of steering going on out there. So run game looks good. Passing game looked great. CeeDee Lamb was virtually unstoppable in the first half.
Yeah.
You know, he was approaching a 100-yard game at the half. Okay. Let's see what else I got here. Defense. Eberflus struggled with his initial game plan. Okay. First half did not look great in the run defense. And of course, everyone, including us,
I disagree.
didn't look great because of Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
It wasn't because Saquon was going off doing Saquon
They bottled him up.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what about Devontae Smith?
It was because of Jalen Hurts' mobility. But if you go back and look at the film, as we do on Talkin Cowboys, what you will notice is that a lot of those runs from Jalen Hurts, none of them were designed. They were broken plays. Why were they broken plays? Because the coverage.
Absolutely.
Was
down coverage.
chef kiss.
It really
okay?
was.
So at that point, now another positive. Halftime adjustments. We saw halftime adjustments from the defense.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. 120-plus yards on the ground for the Eagles in the first half. Roughly 30 on the ground in the second half. 3 rushing tutties in the first half. 0 offensive touchdowns allowed in the second half. A lot of positives to be taken away from here. Solomon Thomas. Yes, sir.
Played well.
Okay.
Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark.
Jeez.
Yes,
Osa Odighizuwa.
sir. Osa in the second half.
Wow, we just
Sam
named
started to
3
come on.
defensive tackles that
We
had a
did.
good.
Wait a second.
What is going on?
Hey,
did.
and shout out to Marshawn.
Marshawn Nealon.
Listen, was not necessarily over the hill for the pass rush, but in terms of his
had 2 sacks.
physicality, the way that Marshawn, Osa, Solomon, and Kenny Clark came off the ball, that it was so encouraging watching on film. Like they were firing off the ball. Solomon Thomas is a madman coming off the snap, like relentless.
Oh my
and
He doesn't just look the part.
And it was the second moves too. It was the fact that he would get locked up on one side and then immediately spins out.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many different options on the film. When you go back and look at it, it's a fun watch.
It really was.
It's
and
a
on
fun
top
watch.
of that adds to
It's very exciting.
how many times did we see in the past, just recent seasons, the Cowboys with go-to-go defense just basically find ways to part the Red Sea or get bullied and just pushed into not last night against arguably the best offensive line in the game. It took, like, for example, one of Jalen Hurts' rushing touchdowns was because it was go-to-go, stuffed. And then he goes to roll
It wasn't
out.
easy.
Right. He goes to roll out. And he's like, oh, I don't have anyone to pass to. Why? Because the coverage is pristine. He rolls out, bootlegs, and there you go. So lots of positive takeaways of these negatives.
One thing that you just brought up, Marshawn Nealon, a guy that you've been critical of since
Very much
camp.
so. Yeah.
For him to show out like he did yesterday was impressive.
Yeah.
But what did you see? What was different from camp from yesterday?
Violence. You don't get that violence in camp. You just don't.
No.
You don't.
You're not tackling.
You're not tackling it. Even when you are thudding up, you're still going 3 quarters. Let's call it what it is, right? In training camp and at the line position, because what your coach is saying, stay up. You can't go 100% when you're worried about falling. Not trying not to fall on the ground. So that's just be real. Be honest about it. The way that he was firing out the ball, even though I would like to see I would like for him to get a bag of pass rushes. When he two gaps, he's powerful. And he pushed Lane Johnson back numerous times into the lap of Jalen Hurts. So those things were very encouraging. Like I said, there's a lot to go through, but for fans, understand you won the number of first downs. You won third down. You won total yards. You won average gain per play.
Let me add.
You won the coaching.
Let me add to this a little bit. If you would have told me on Wednesday going into Thursday that Saquon Barkley is held to 3.3 yards per carry.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Devontae Smith finishes with 3 grabs for 16 yards, no touchdowns. Longest was 7 yards.
I know where you're going.
A.J. Brown.
Did he play?
1 reception.
Oh, he was in the building.
He was there. He was in the building.
At the end of the game.
Yeah, 1 reception for 8
Garbage
yards at
time,
the end of the game.
if you will.
At the end of the game. If you would have told me all 3 of those things were true, I don't care what anybody else does. I think Dallas wins the game.
Correct.
And that's part of why this one does hurt the way that it does. And I say hurt with a little emphasis because you talked about third down. That was the problem.
That was the problem.
8 of 13, and most of those 13 that didn't end up on the positive side for Philly was late. And that was part of the adjustment. In the 45 seconds that I saw my wife this morning, we talked football because that was really all we had. When we get home at 2 a.m. and then turn around and get up here at 8 a.m. Yeah, and that's not even as bad as what Patrick's having to deal with and Chris Beam are having to deal with. But for the 45 seconds I saw Lorena, I said, I think it boils down to I loved Schottenheimer's game plan.
Yes.
I loved Eberflus's adjustments.
Yes.
And that's part of the game.
Well
The game plan was there in the first half from the offense, and the game plan wasn't bad from Eberflus in the first half. They did good things, or else Saquon Barkley doesn't get held to 3.3 yards per carry. But the adjustments going into the second half from the defensive side gave the offense every opportunity to win that game in the third or the fourth quarter, and you didn't take advantage of it.
To your point, Eberflus's game plan, I actually think in the first half was really good.
It was fine.
We're talking about shutting down A.J. Brown. We're talking about shutting down Devontae Smith.
That's for the whole
and
game.
And Saquon Barkley for the entire game.
Yeah.
It was Jalen Hurts that hurt you. No pun intended.
Yeah.
It was those third down situational things. It was Dante Fowler not having his best game. It was the linebackers not cleaning up,
Oh, the second level.
There was the second level all day because Osa Odighizuwa was in the backfield on every snap. It was insane.
And the reason why I point, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. We're just we watch film around here. Okay, so that's what we do at Talking Cowboys. I can't speak to the other shows. You know what I'm saying? But we watch film. We watch film and we talk.
I watched it on the way home last night.
There's a lot of things that you can point out as every coach on that staff is going to do. They are going to dissect it for those that are at home. And when you're a professional athlete in the NFL, the coaches come in, they watch the film first. They literally grade every single play. They give you a plus or they give you a minus. When you walk into that meeting room that morning to go over what just took place, you are handed a packet of every play that was had for your offensive or defensive snaps with your grade for that play, whatever plays you were on. You're graded. Okay, and you go through every single play and you talk what you should have done better, what we could have done better as a unit. We were talking about the defensive line and how they were firing off and how they, for the most part, have relatively good gap discipline. The linebackers, I know it is going to be highlighted, and Matt Eberflus, that's his position, so please believe he's going to correct this. These guys were not playing as a cohesive unit in the terms of reactionary action. You know what I'm saying? They weren't reacting. They were waiting. There was gaps that were there. That's why Saquon got off and should have been -2, -3 yards a couple times, and he was able to make it +4, right? Because we were not shooting the gaps. We weren't seeing ball, hit ball. There was hesitation there, and I think those are things that you only get by knocking off the rust.
Yeah.
Last night was knocking off the rust. You just wish that it would have happened somewhere in the preseason or training camp. But, again, these are all the correctable items, and I am encouraged by it. Only thing that sticks out to me, and like a sore thumb, the Philadelphia Eagles were 3 for 3 in the red zone. Mm-hmm. If the Dallas Cowboys were 3 for 3, Dallas Cowboys win the game. I'm not pointing to saying that was the only thing. Obviously, there's a gazillion things that took place. The fumble killed it.
Yeah,
the fumble killed it. You were in the red zone. First of all, I should have never got to the fumble because that was a heck of a blocked up, great call by Schottenheimer, blocked up by the O-line and the receivers. It should have been a house call.
You know who cribs?
Not a house call.
You know who cribs that, right?
Jaden Blue.
Jaden Blue cribs that.
Understood. I mean, it happens.
One of the few coaching.
It's not.
I'm not gonna
do
fault
that.
Miles Sanders
I'm not going to fault
for a 50.
Zach Bond made a heck of a play.
Not faulting him for that. What we're saying, because two things can be true at the same time. It was a hell of a play. It was blocked up wonderfully.
Yeah.
He executed it wonderfully. Mm-hmm. And it's also true that he got dragged down from behind by Zach.
You can say the same thing about Kevontae Turpin, though. You can throw anybody's name in there.
Yeah.
But to counter,
does Turpin on that particular play? Does Turpin?
No, I mean, but you can always sub out. You can always.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you can always look at
It's
each
not a
play
knock
and say
to
if this
Miles.
player was there, it would have been better.
Blue is faster, and in that particular play, all things being equal, Blue is not getting caught from behind.
to counteract that, though, you have Zach Bond in the backfield. That is in the out in space. Who cleaned it up? It was aisle 7. I mean, he was clearing up all day, every day. Yeah. I don't know necessarily that Jaden Blue cribs that, but the chances are much higher
Zach Bond is not
if Jaden Blue is in the game.
Blue, listen. We can't go down the line and say on this play if
That's what I'm saying.
If that player was in there, that would have been
tough to really say.
We're not going to do that. But it was a heck of a play by Zach Bond, heck of a play on the offense for the Dallas Cowboys. Unfortunately, you didn't score. Okay, you would have liked to have scored.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the consequence of that was, unfortunately, ball security wasn't there. You lost the ball. But we can point to that. We can point to the George Pickens, penalty, which killed you on your ability to score a touchdown on that particular drive. So there was a number of things that took place. We're not pointing fingers. We're just addressing that one stat line. If you were 3 for 3, you win the game.
Well, turnovers decide games.
Facts.
And that was the only turnover of the entire game.
And drops.
And, drops.
And your quarterback tried to save you even from that turnover.
I want to talk a little more offense. Let's talk about the drops. Let's talk about the significance of Dak last night. And I thought he had some ups and some downs, but really it was more ups than downs. Cowboys lose 24-20 to the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk offense when we come back right after this.
AT&T has a new guarantee because most things in life are not guaranteed, like getting through self-checkout by yourself.
Warning, each item must be placed in the bagging area.
Not guaranteed.
Place item in the bagging area. Place item in the bagging area.
You know what AT&T guarantees? Connectivity you depend on, deals you want, and service you deserve. Or we make it right. Terms and conditions apply. Visit att.com/guarantee for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Every day begins with a promise to work hard and to build a future. That's why we're here, providing the tools, expertise, and John Deere equipment you have relied on for generations to help you get the job done right. We're with you. That's our promise to you, because no matter the project or the challenge you're facing,
we're with you. We're united. If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner. With over $9 billion in business loans and more than 140 business specialists right here in North Texas, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this segment of the show is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Still smiling today. Normally they call it...
I am smiling.
Yeah.
There are things to smile about.
Sure.
I'm dead serious.
They call it Black Monday most of the time on the week after the first game for every NFL team, because you're either winning the Super Bowl or you're going to go 0-17, and right. I think Dallas is about as in the middle as possible on that. And of course, it's not a Monday; it's Black Friday, but it's not Thanksgiving. When you talk about some of the positives there for the offense, and we've kind of hit a couple of these. Dak Prescott finishes 21 of 34 passing, didn't have a passing touchdown. 188 through the air. 110 of that went to one guy named CeeDee Lamb. However, even after going 7 receptions for 110 yards, a lot of people looking at CeeDee as a microcosm reason, and it's not the only reason, but it's a big reason that the Cowboys didn't come up with this. Football's a funny game, isn't it?
It is.
Football's a funny game. He had 4 drops after putting up 110 yards receiving and being the majority of the offensive attack for the Dallas Cowboys. And at the end of the day, you come up just shy on a couple of really tough catches, and it's still not enough to get it done. And he said it himself. He said, I got to catch those balls.
Yeah, let's give credit to the maturity of CeeDee Lamb.
100%.
Right. Think about where he came from.
He's a captain.
He's not ducking, and
he's a captain now, right? I'm the captain now, right?
I was hoping you get that reference.
He has taken so many strides towards leadership. I don't have a personal relationship with him like that, but I'm proud of his development in that particular area, coming from where he was even in the beginning of last year. Go back a year, where he was throwing tantrums and things like that, and I think that was kind of his awakening moment to see himself in the mirror and be like, I don't like that, right? And he made changes to the point where there's nothing negative that you could say about how he addressed and owned his drops from yesterday.
Not at all.
He owned that to a T.
Yeah, go watch it on DallasCowboys.com. The whole interview's up.
Listen, no excuses. Hey, look no further than me. I got to catch the ball. All the things I'm not looking anywhere else. I'm looking at the man in the mirror, Michael Jackson style. And that's what I love about how he handled that yesterday. He said, if you don't think that I'm going to come back better than I was tonight, you guys don't know me. Love it. Love it. It happens. Everybody's not on their A game every day. He balled out.
He really did.
He balled out. But there's some balls that he wish he would have brought in. It happens. You can talk about the O-line. They balled out for the most part. We can point to a number of blocks that you wish you would have done better.
Yeah.
It would have made a difference, right?
And for any fan that says, he's getting $34 million, he needs to make every single one of those catches, there were a couple of those catches I thought were pretty tough.
Yes.
And especially if you consider the secondary bearing down on him in those moments. But for him to outwardly say, those are mine, I need to get those. No matter what.
Here's the exact quote, and I'll quote CeeDee Lamb after the game last night. Man, that was terrible. I can't point fingers at anybody else. I take full accountability and everything else that comes with that. As a player, I've prayed for moments like that and for the ball to come my way, to not come up with it. It stings a little bit. And then he went on to say, as Isaiah was saying, if you don't think that he's going to come back basically and cook, then you got another thing coming. And I'm standing right there with Isaiah. I cannot, and I've said it a million times. One thing about me is I'm always going to give roses and kudos to a person who can be accountable, right? They're not passing the buck off. He didn't even deflect. He didn't try to soften the blow. He basically stood right on the tracks, looked at the train coming and said, okay, this is me. Now, was he the only reason the Cowboys dropped that game? No. I mean, my prediction was the Cowboys win 27-24, and damn it, They were right
close.
there. They were right
one
there.
score away.
Ball is in your hand. 3 minutes to go. Got to make the catches, and he knows that. I think what highlights the drops is the situation in which the drops occurred.
Absolutely.
And
the last drive,
the receiver that dropped the passes. It's kind of a perfect storm of that's why they pay CeeDee Lamb to make those catches.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb said it himself. He's prayed for times like that.
Yep.
And in the past, he's come up good for the Cowboys in times like that. In the future, he will come up good for the Cowboys in times like that. Also true, though, those drops were brutal. If he gets just one of the final 2 drops, just one.
That first to, or the second to last drop, Dak.
The deep
You're
crosser.
talking about the one over the
deep
middle.
crosser.
Deep crosser.
Dak put it
bam, and it tipped up.
Perfect spot.
They were both good throws.
They were both.
Yeah,
They were both dots.
The last one was a little tough. That would have been.
Yeah,
that
but
would
you
have
had
crazy
to put it
extension.
there. You had to put it there with the
You had
safety
to.
coming over the
Right.
top and then the
That was
corner
still a
underneath.
dot.
But the second to last, Dak put it on it.
I agree with Patrick entirely because the only reason we have that expectation for CeeDee Lamb is because we've seen it in the past.
Correct.
We've seen him make those types of plays in the past. CeeDee knows he can make those types of plays. He's paid to make those types of plays. And at the end of the day, that's going to separate CeeDee Lamb from being a great receiver in this league to being an elite receiver in this league. And I do. I've said it before. I've said it since he was drafted. I think he has everything on the table to be an elite receiver in this league, and he has been at different points throughout his career. He had a chance to become the storyline last night. Imagine if he, like you said, grabs 1 or 2 of those 4 drops that he had on the night. You're talking about a $130, 140 yards, possibly a touchdown in there if things continue going your way. And he's the main reason Dallas wins the game on the road against Philadelphia. That's what's going to come with the territory. You ride the highs, you ride the lows. This just happened to be a low for CeeDee Lamb.
That was evidence of rust.
You think so?
Yes, because I want you to tell. All right,
disagree.
tell me the last time that he had to make a catch
No,
with that kind of coverage, that kind of physicality.
I get that. The only reason
I'm not making an excuse. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just being real about it.
The only reason I disagree with that is if he hadn't been on fire the first half. So if you flip the halves,
Okay, but think about the
then I could
catches.
say that.
I'm serious. Think about the catches that he made versus the catches that he didn't make.
Yeah.
Right. The last time that he had that level of physicality was last season.
Yeah.
It's just real. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying this is
speak your truth,
this is
brother.
the reason why some teams
your truth,
play some of their guys in the preseason, however long that might be, is because it allows for guys to kind of get recalibrated. You're not that physical in practice. You're not diving for catches in practice. Training camp. You're not.
I have a counterpoint.
It's risk versus reward. Right? Did we see him have to dive? Did he dive for anything in training camp?
No.
Are you see any of those receivers outside of the guys who are trying to make the roster dive for anything at training camp? No. So what practice would he have at that? I'm just being real right now. Like, what's the last time somebody was that physical where you had a guy that's on your back and a guy's about to hit you in your face and you had to focus on the ball? Last season.
You feel the footsteps coming.
And setting up at practice is not the same as live rounds.
Because you know
out
that
there on
you're
the field.
safe.
Yeah.
It's a safe place.
Yeah.
So your eyes.
It's a safe place.
It's a safe place in practice. It is. You're not worried about getting injured by somebody knocking your head off, right? But now all of a sudden I'm thrusted into the game. And again, he's paid to do it. He knows it, ownership. But again, he needed this one game to recalibrate himself and say, hey, we're back playing football again. And there's a real chance that I can get hit. Right? So now my eyes, my focus, everything that's required to keep this guy off my back, catch the ball, and make sure that my eyes aren't wandering to the cat that's trying to take my head off.
Yeah.
Right? Those are things that I have not had practice on since last season.
All the separation, all the separation and the route running and all of the things that CeeDee Lamb can do well in practice was fine.
Yeah.
Because when he had a cushion, it was there. But you go back and you look at all 4 drops, I challenge you, go back and look at all 4 of them. There was somebody in the vicinity.
See, and this is
it was a contested. And it wasn't like it wasn't like he didn't come up with contested catches. He had a couple of those. But when it came to catches and heavy traffic in dangerous situations, the dive, the throw over the middle and the deep crosser, both of those situations were in heavy traffic. And as a receiver, you know you're about to get hit. Even if you catch the ball, I'm not saying he's backing down. He had perfect position. He had an opportunity.
Yeah.
But you know as soon as you grab that ball, you're getting lit up.
And you know what?
And it is a little bit different.
And on top of that, and again, I'm not going to go down every doggone drop, okay, or whatever. George Pickens forced a pass interference at I think it was second quarter, somewhere around there. Yeah. In my head, George Pickens makes that catch, even with the flag call.
Yeah.
Even with the pass
And
interference.
one?
In my head, that's a catch for George Pickens. He got his hand, he somehow, some way stacked the DB, got one hand on it, dropped it. I know that George is watching that film sometime today and is like, I got to make that catch.
Mm-hmm.
But when's the last time?
Say again.
When's the last time?
He had to make that catch.
He had to make that physical of a catch. Not in training camp, not in OTAs. It hasn't happened. So, I mean, I'm not giving an excuse, but what I'm saying is be empathetic to the fact that they are due a game to get recalibrated. Now, you wish that they wouldn't have to use a regular season game to get calibrated, but understand that as a human being, as a professional athlete, you have to get recalibrated to the reality and the physicality of your sport. This is why it's risk versus reward for guys in the preseason. Some teams play their guys, some teams don't. Why do some guys play their guys? Because they want that rust, those plays, to happen early so that now when the regular season starts, they're not worried about it.
When it counts.
Counterpoint. Now that I've heard your entire explanation, I don't disagree as much right now as I did before you explained. So credit to you. That being said, I think we're looking at the angle of rust differently.
Okay.
My purview of rust, if I'm to agree with you that those drops were due to rust, I will agree that it was in the focus capacity.
Okay.
That much I'll give to you.
Okay.
But when I hear CeeDee Lamb affirm what I was thinking in my head, what I said out loud in the press box after the third drop, and then most certainly the fourth drop, but not necessarily the fourth drop. I really think that he refocused and tried to get that fourth. That's why he laid out like that, and it just didn't happen for him. But after the third drop, I said out loud in the press box, I said something my grandma used to say, my late grandma. I think he's smelling himself. It's an old Southern saying that basically says you're getting too big for your britches. He had an outstanding training camp. CeeDee Lamb did. One of the MVPs of training
Best
camp.
player on the field.
Yep. He's torching these guys, 76, 80 yards. He's having his way with them. He's single back, motion out of the backfield on third down. You know, I mean, like, Shotty has him cooking. He's cooking. Dak is cooking. CeeDee Lamb is starting to feel unstoppable. He's starting to feel like, okay, this might be a 2,000 receiving yard season. And then the focus starts to wane. So I agree with you. The focus waned. The question and the argument, and we'll put it to Cowboys Nation. Feel free to engage in the chat with it. The argument is, do you feel like the focus, because we agree they were focus drops, do you think it was due to rust, or do you think it was due to CeeDee Lamb being too confident that he didn't have to necessarily look up? Example, one of the drops, I think it was the second drop. It was the second drop. It was going away from the press box. If you look at that play, CeeDee, and it kind of goes to your point a little bit, he started to turn his head to assess what was coming, okay? Bring the ball in and then run. You know, that's football law when you're a receiver. See the ball in and then
When's the last time he had to worry about getting hit?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said I don't fully disagree.
Yeah, so when I say the word rust, I mean, it's just a calibration. Maybe I should use the word calibration. I
can ride with that.
He hasn't had to worry about that. You can say, "Oh, he's a professional athlete."
I wouldn't call that rusty. It was just a timing element.
And that's what I mean. You don't go off the way you're going.
Calibrating.
It's calibrating. I'm recalibrating, bro. Like, doggone it. That's right. I'm about to get doggone hit. I naturally, for that 0.02 seconds, my eyes went away from the ball because I'm like, ooh, it's been a minute
so that's
since
a
I've
focus
got
drop.
hit. It is a focus drop. But again, I have to get recalibrated that I'm about to get doggone hit. And guess what? That's a part of the game. Dang it. I wish that didn't happen in the game.
And that's
on the diving catch, right?
Yeah.
I dive for the ball. I haven't dove for the ball in freaking 6 months, okay? Last time I dove for the ball, I tucked my elbows. This time, my elbows were out. Dang it. All right, that's something that's easily correctable. I'll tuck my elbows next time. Next time I get to cradle that, that's a catch. I sure wish that didn't happen in the game, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the things that I'm talking about in terms of, like, recalibrating himself. And that's why after the game when you interview CeeDee Lamb, he says, please believe I'm going to come back stronger. Why? Because those are all things that are correctable. I already know how to correct those things. I just wish that they didn't happen in the game.
But you also know what he said? He said God has a weird way of humbling you.
He did.
And that was the answer to the question of, did he feel a little overconfident after the first half that he was having? And his answer was, God has a strange way of humbling you. So that was him saying that maybe he did get overconfident and he felt confident enough that he can ditch the fundamentals at any given time.
I agree.
And now you're saying, here's the ball coming. It's a dot from Dak, and
let me get back
here,
to the
and
basics.
your hands are here, and you're like, no. Yeah. Oh, not so fast, my friend.
For sure.
See the ball in, and then make the play.
And this applies to all across the board. I know we're talking about CD, but this was a calibration for a lot of guys. Jack Sanborn, see ball, hit ball. There was too much hesitation.
Dante
Fowler, freaking keep your leverage, work on your pass rush. I don't know if they were being told the two gap in the first half and not really work on one shoulder of the offensive tackles, but they were two gapping a lot. It wasn't much pass rush going on. Malik Hooker, wrap up. Right, like we can point to a lot of different guys.
You can't throw a shoulder and take one
go across the whole board.
Yeah.
For guys that have not been playing in the preseason, this was their calibration. And you just wish it didn't happen in the first game. But again, be encouraged.
Yes.
Be encouraged. You just face, arguably, and there's no reason to say anything different until these other teams start playing, the best team in football. They're returning champions from last year who returned 17 starters and added players.
Yeah.
Be encouraged. You wish you would have won the game. You had opportunities to win the game. There's things that you could point out in the film that you could say, had we made these plays, had we done these things better, we win the game. And guess what? Philly's saying the same thing. Had we had Jalen Carter, we would have won by more. Had we done these things, we would have won by more. Like, everybody's going to do that. But be encouraged with what you have. Now, Cowboys Nation, you have an idea of what your team is. You have an idea of how impactful you are without Micah Parsons. You have an idea of what your running game looks like. You have an idea about a lot of things. Now, this is week one. The thought process is we can only get better from here. That's the thought process. Now we have to sit and wait.
They are who we thought they were. Let them off the hook.
If I've learned one thing in this segment all the way through is that Isaiah is trying to talk about starters in his preseason broadcasts next year. And he's just trying to push Brian Schottenheimer to put the starters in so he and Bill Jones can talk about them against the Falcons next year in preseason week 2. That's what it is.
Chess.
All right, when we come back, I want to flip to the defensive side of the football. Matt Eberflus made the adjustments late. What happened with the contain of Jalen Hurts early? And how can you take steps forward? Plus, are the Cowboys good in coverage? Was the secondary good yesterday? When we come back with more Talking Cowboys right after this.
I'm Ron Bergen.
AT&T has a new guarantee because most things in life are not guaranteed, like getting through self-checkout by yourself.
Warning, each item must be placed in the bagging area.
Not guaranteed.
Place item in the bagging area. Place item in the bagging area.
You know what AT&T guarantees? Connectivity you depend on, deals you want, and service you deserve. Or we make it right. Terms and conditions apply. Visit att.com/guarantee for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time. But what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code Cowboys VIP.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. Our comment of the day. There were a bunch of good ones today. You guys have been super active in the comment section.
Love it.
Zion Childress in the comment section.
There is literally a Zion Childress here. I'm giving it to Adam just because it kind of made me chuckle a second ago. He said, I smashed another TV into pieces last night.
Oh, hopefully it was a old TV.
Old TV, yeah. Don't smash TVs. Right. Don't do that. That's what people dress up as Cowboys fans that aren't actually Cowboys fans and then throw things at TVs to like go viral.
If anything, you should have smashed a CD player. You know what I'm saying?
With the anti-skip?
That's rough.
Like a Walkman or something.
That's rough.
It's good.
Did you have anti-skip?
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Absolutely.
You had money.
For all the jogging I did.
Bro, you had
You know who
money.
you're talking to?
Bro, I used to have a rubber band, wrap that thing around, and then tuck it into my pants, and then cinch up my pants and tighten it up so that thing didn't move.
Yep.
That's it. That for all the non-anti-skip people.
I had the
So that kept you from dropping the CD?
I had the cassette in like a little fanny pack situation.
Yeah.
With my turtleneck with a big chain.
Nice.
Looking like Dwayne The Rock
Look like
Johnson.
The Rock.
In the 90s.
I like it. We've talked offense. We've talked a little bit of the defense. I want to continue with the secondary, question mark?
Man.
Question mark. Who put the question mark in the teleprompter? You know Kyle will read whatever's on the
Whatever's on the teleprompter. I liked the coverage yesterday.
you did.
A lot of zone.
Yeah.
Tons of pretty much.
I thought they did a really nice job.
Primarily all zone. They did a.
And I was very on this show specifically. I've been very critical of the secondary and how without Trayvon Diggs, luckily he's even partially back in the fold. Without Trayvon Diggs, I don't know what the secondary is going to look like, and I said that all offseason long. I feel much better about the secondary just seeing what they had out there. Was it perfect? No. But again, if you hold A.J. Brown to 1 reception for 8 yards and you hold Devontae Smith for 3 receptions, even Dallas Goedert had 7 catches, but he only went for 44 yards. They limited the passing game entirely in that matchup.
Well, even the deep throw, the dots, and the chunk play, the biggest play of the game for the Philadelphia Eagles, that was good coverage. Elam was right there on his hip. That was just
it was a damn good
throw.
throw.
That was just Hurts seeing that the defender was on the outside hip. And the safety had already shaded, so he threw to the inside hip.
And
I still think the jury's out. I'm just being honest.
Well, that's for anything.
No. I'm saying we did
two.
not truly have enough body of work in terms of coverage, man-to-man coverage, to really have an understanding of where you're at with your DBs.
But
right? And I think they were being protected by Eberflus in that regard.
But
and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's fine.
There's nothing wrong with that.
As long as it's schemed up and they're able to cover.
And that's what it was.
I don't care if it's man zone,
guys,
2 high, 1 high. I don't care.
Guys played their zones very well yesterday. I don't know yet the ability of our DBs to play man-to-man for a majority of the game right now. I don't know. We don't have enough on film to state that. So that's why I say coverage-wise and scheme-wise, it was great for whatever Philly was presenting, right? Eberflus had those guys dialed up. Whatever routes they were running, there was somebody in that zone making sure that they were taking it away. I don't know in terms of ability to cover yet, and I think with Deron Bland just coming back, with Trayvon Diggs, being on a kind of a pitch count, I don't think that Eberflus wanted to expose them to that. And also, maybe Philadelphia's concepts were better defended in the zone. I don't know. I don't know what it was, right? But either way, they did a heck of a job with coverage.
Their concepts didn't warrant man-to-man in that game
Facts.
yesterday. It warranted a spy on the quarterback. That's kind of going to be my gripe
But you don't get
all
both.
game long.
You don't get both.
Yeah, you got to get
that's what I'm saying. So it's one
totally
of the two.
understandable.
Yeah.
Totally understandable. But if you're not putting your most athletic linebacker out there the entire game, I don't know what you're doing. Because Jack Sanborn did not have a great game. Kenneth Murray did not have a great game.
The one time
Case in point, he's getting stiff-armed by Saquon Barkley.
He got
the one time I saw Leah foul out there, I don't remember what the route was. I think it was a running back. They tried to shake him up, and he literally was like shadow boxing with this dude. Like the dude made a move. Leofau made a move. His footwork was just like a mirror image.
And
So I agree with you. I would have liked to see him more, but again, I'm not sure how he fit into the scheme that was executed yesterday. If you had to make a choice,
right,
in terms of playing Leofau,
oh man, you're right here,
to scheme him up, to shadow, Jalen Hurts versus have the coverage that you had last night.
I'm taking the latter.
I'm taking what we saw last night.
I'm taking the coverage because what I would rather
it limited the big plays.
Right, because what I would rather do is I hate that Jalen Hurts was able to extend plays. I shouldn't have to say that, but let me say it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. However, if this is a pick your poison scenario, and it very much is a pick your poison scenario, would you rather have Jalen Hurts have the strong ground game that he had in the first half, or A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith combined for 200 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns? Like, I would rather the latter not be a thing. That being said, also, to Isaiah's point, something else to look at positively. Now that because they were forced into a zone coverage, wisely so because of the concepts that are run by the Eagles and their passing attack, that up against the best receivers in the league in zone, this personnel can get the job done. Okay, that's with Trayvon Diggs only playing 43% of the snaps. Okay, so now when they're forced to go into a man coverage and Trayvon Diggs now is more time removed from playing and the rust being knocked off, now you're looking at the 3-pack. You're looking at Elam and Diggs and Bland on the field at the same time. You didn't often see that last night. Trayvon Diggs didn't even technically start the game last night. So as he gets that rust knocked off, now you know, can we go zone against a team that has two arguably elite receivers? Yes. And you can do it with one of your guys, your all-pro record-setting cornerback playing less than half the snaps. He's going to play more than this going forward.
Absolutely, yep.
So man zone, to Kyle's point, with a question mark. The coverage was
secondary.
The secondary was good.
And if you're going to have that, though, if you're going to have zone, you're going to need a cleanup crew on the second level. And I just don't think the linebackers were that. And we had talked about how well the linebackers were playing up until throughout the preseason, throughout camp, and then in week 1 it just wasn't there.
Well, they were tasked with playing zone, right?
Exactly,
so you have linebackers, you got
Dropping
two. A lot
back.
of times it was two linebackers, right? It was Sanborn and Murray playing in space, and they're covering so much ground where they're responsible for A.J. Brown was running a lot of whip routes and short or underneath routes. Dotson was running across the middle of the field. So you had these guys that were literally covering receivers, right? Because the zone defense demanded that they guard that area, right? So yeah, there was elements that you wish were different, but again, you're in a situation where you had to say, hey, we either got to do this and limit the big plays, or we got to do this and we're subject to big plays with guys who necessarily haven't played a lot lately. They have a responsibility to make sure Trayvon was healthy coming out of the game. They had a responsibility to make sure that Deron Bland was able to do what he needed to do and build his confidence. So I understand, and I am perfectly fine. With the scheme that was brought to the game by Matt Eberflus yesterday. You just would love to see them restrict the rushing lanes a little bit more. You'd like to see them get a little bit better pass rush. These are all things that are correctable. But in terms of what their responsibilities were defensively outside of that front D line, those guys did a heck of a job.
Yes.
One thing. And I want to do this probably for the last time I want to bring it up.
Uh-oh.
But this was brought up a lot yesterday. It's like Dallas really missed a guy like Micah Parsons.
It's true.
Yeah. It's no doubt. There's no doubt about it.
And
you didn't have
a guy like DeMarvion Overshown.
You didn't have a guy like Kenny Clark out there. You did not have a guy.
Huge
like
impact.
Yeah.
So if you would have had Micah Parsons, you wouldn't.
Saquon would have had more yards.
Saquon would have had a lot more yards. You would have had a way bigger issue in the running game. So
he got redirected a lot.
People are forgetting that fact, is that the run defense would not have been, and they weren't terrific yesterday. Granted, they did hold Saquon Barkley to 50 yards. You did not have Kenny Clark before Micah Parsons.
Sure. I will honestly say parts and parcel of the game. They were not terrific in the first half. They were pretty freaking terrific in the second.
They cleaned it up.
Yeah.
Now, and to
adjustments, like we said.
Quick, and I'm going to lob it right back to KY. You could have had, if the defensive front would have been able to maintain or keep contained on Jalen Hurts and shore up that the rushing lanes, you could have had 3 or 4 coverage sacks last night. Yeah. They almost got home on him twice in particular. Trayvon Diggs' blitz, he had just missed on it, and they couldn't clean up on the back end.
And Jalen Hurts' first touchdown was coverage.
Yeah,
I mean,
so that's what I mean.
Only reason why he was able to get out the pocket is because Fowler went inside. Yeah. Everybody else was covered up, and like that one guy went outside of the scheme and allowed for Jalen Hurts to get outside.
If your coverage plays, if your secondary plays this well, 15 out of 17 regular season games. Keep in mind, you're not going to go against every week or every other week a quarterback with the mobility and the talent that Jalen Hurts has.
Sure.
Okay?
You will in the playoffs.
Right. So if you're – get there first. Playoffs.
I'm just saying.
Get there first. That's why I said 15 or 17. I ain't in January.
Yeah.
If your secondary, your coverage can play like this for the majority of the season, you will win a lot more games than you will lose because your defensive line will get home a lot more times than they don't get home. Because a lot of these quarterbacks, they have some mobility, but they don't have Jalen Hurts' type of mobility. They don't have the what's my guy? Josh Allen. They don't have his mobility. They don't have the Lamar Jackson's mobility. You're going to have just traditional pocket passers who will see a Sam Williams collapsing down, and they'll see, Maris Leofau being sent after you. They'll see Dante Fowler coming, and they'll blink. And once they blink, they're down.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There were times where Micah Parsons would have made an impact in this game, one way or the other. They missed him at times. But I also think we've now seen that Dallas will survive without him in the full defense.
Kenny Clark played.
There were a lot of things that went well for Dallas, and that was his first game. He's only been here a week.
Amazing.
And he played to that standard. Like I said last week, he gets off the plane as your best interior defensive lineman, maybe not named Osa Adigizua because he was great.
Oh, Solly's
Solomon was great. There's a lot of positives to talk about it.
King Solomon.
However, we've got to move on to next week, the Giants on
Bring on the Giants.
Sunday.
Bring them on.
A little bit of a long week here. Cowboys fall 24-20. We'll have to stew on it for a little bit.
Rest up.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Everybody stay safe.
Get some sleep.
Get some sleep. Patrick, especially, please go to sleep. Beam, whenever you get back, go to sleep. I know you've got kids to worry about, but we appreciate you all tuning in, joining us. We'll be back Monday, 9 a.m. Central Time to continue breaking it down here on Talking Cowboys. For Patrick, Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long from Talking Cowboys. We'll see you on Monday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?